I get nice and close.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Marc Caron, and welcome to your Wake Up Call. Today, I am coming to you from the beautiful community of Maple Ridge, where usually I come to you from Vancouver. I've been a couple of days here on a friend of mine. She has her name's Cynthia Lee, and she runs a new Rainforest Ranch Retreat and Healing Center out here in Maple Ridge. It's a beautiful ranch with I don't even know how many acres, but horse pastures and things. And I came out here for a day or so to just, to check out the space and help with a few projects. And I ended up staying for another day. So I'm a little bit more remote today. And I'm just really happy to be here. It's a beautiful space here in Maple Ridge. And again, welcome to your Wake Up Call. We're here live on PMC Global, Conscious Living Radio, Conscious Living Network, and wherever it airs out there in YouTube. Welcome and thank you for tuning in. And today, my guest is a good friend of mine, Joanne Chrobot. And today we're going to be talking about community and contribution, and really the importance that, we feel contributing beyond ourselves really enhances our lives and has an impact on the lives of others. And Joanne is actually the founder of Basket Brigade Canada, so we're going to get in and talk about what that is, but it's really about community and contribution. So Joanne, welcome to the program. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Mark. So happy to be here.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and I know, for those watching, we met through our passion for personal growth and development, live events, and really volunteering and contributing, because we volunteer and donate a lot of our time to really help make the world a better place, whether it be one person at a time, or in some cases with, good old Tony Robbins, 15,000 to 22,000 to 30,000 people at a time. So we're blessed to be part of this really cool community. And it's just a pleasure to, have worked and supported Joanne on the work she's done here locally in Vancouver. And as we've, kind of connected around, North America at different events. So thank you, Joanne, for your contribution and the work you do, because I know you've been doing this for a long time. Maybe you can tell your story a little bit about who you are and how you got into doing what it is you're doing today.
Sure, I'd love to. So, gosh, I guess, being a single mom and having kids to take care of, you think of other people maybe going through things like you are. And in 92, I went to my first Tony Robbins event, and I was so inspired by Tony talking about how someone, when he was 11, delivering food to them, and how it really changed his life. And I thought, gosh, we should deliver food up here. And that was 92. So in 93, I started doing that out of my house, still doing it out of my house. And
Wow.
And every year at Thanksgiving in Canada, which is in October, coming up actually next weekend, we delivered food to families. First it was just a few, and then it grew and grew, and every year it got bigger. And people always said, "Hey, what can I get a tax receipt?" And we said, "Well, no, we're not a charity," but I thought we need to figure that out eventually. So 2 years ago, we got our charitable status. Wow. So now we're incorporated across the whole country. And there's people that are doing this locally like I am, and I'm sure you've heard about it locally where you are. Mm-hmm. And across the country as well. So we've got them in BC and Alberta, Saskatchewan. We've got a few here in Ontario. And it's very exciting. So we're feeding thousands of families, which is great.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for taking up that as a fellow Canadian and representing Canada with the Basket Brigade. Now, before we get in and talk about more detail of how that works and because there's a lot to it, I'm curious to, you and I come from the same school of thought in so many ways. And because this show is called Your Wake Up Call, I'm really want to inspire and encourage people to wake up to a different way of thinking. And part of that is about really the power of contribution, of giving back, which what we would know as the sixth human need is contribution. Yeah. So how is it you find that contribution is important to just our lives as people, and why is it do you feel that it's important for us to contribute beyond ourselves?
Oh gosh, I think it just, for me, it was an ability I learned when I was little. You know, we went to lots of parties and stuff when I was little. My parents were always, my mom was like, go help in the kitchen, go help, go see if you can help, go see if you can help. So I was always, can I help? Can I help? Can I help? So I learned to do that. And so I love to help people. And so that was ingrained in me, and I'm always grateful for that. And I think just, as you said, it's one of our 6 human needs Tony talks about all the time. We need to contribute to feel like we are doing something in the world that's positive, that's, that's really impactful for other people and the world.
Mm-hmm. And what I think is really cool about Tony's 6 human needs psychology is, what he would call contribution is a spiritual need, right? We've got growth and contribution is need 5 and 6. And for the people who are tuning in and watching and have been following my program for a little while, they know I've talked about this stuff. And growth and contribution are the spiritual needs. Not everybody needs to grow and contribute. Yet there's a whole element of juice for your life and for your spirit when you're growing and giving back, right?
And I think too, when a disaster happens, look at, any kind of, when we see all the flooding in the US or the fires or what earthquakes or, 9/11, whatever, even this virus thing, everyone's coming out with their heart and actually helping each other, which is wonderful. We got a grant from United Way funded through the government of Canada, where we're able to deliver some hot meals now every week to our families, which is so exciting because they really are struggling. Some can't get that CERB, that government money, and they're really struggling. So we're very grateful to be able to help them. And my cord just fell out, so I'm just going to turn around and grab my cord.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep talking. I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, and this is a thing that I think is fantastic, that there are organizations out there doing this locally. And it's not just for here in Canada. It's just not in the United States. It's wherever you are that you might be watching, the opportunity that if you have the means, which my hallucination is, if you're actually watching this today, you must have the means because you've at least got internet connection, you've got a phone, you've got a computer, you've got something. And generally, a lot of these people, in other parts of the world don't necessarily have that same ability. So it's, I've found when I give back beyond myself, there's just that element of joy in this, like an inner peace that lights me up because, you see the difference that you make in people's lives. And the important thing too is the community around it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, so we have a lot of volunteers. We have a lot of volunteer drivers, and they come and sort and pack food. They deliver for, 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes at a time, at one time on one day. And because of the United Way grant, we need drivers every week now, not just at Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So people are really giving, and they're available every week. Some of these drivers come out, and they are so happy and don't want any, thanks or anything. They just want to do it. They just feel they have to contribute. And this gives them it's a great vehicle. It gives them the opportunity to do that.
Well, and these are interesting times like we've never seen in the history of mankind before. And I know that I have a friend who volunteers for the food bank, and he was saying that the need right now is more than it's ever been. And I think it's just really important because I always find it interesting, that we have so much knowledge, information, wisdom, resources, and you again, same school of thought, no lack of resources, it's our resourcefulness. Why is anybody on this planet starving or going without the basic needs that I believe as God-given beings on this planet, we are entitled for survival and the basic livings of life.
Yeah, I think that's, my personal opinion is maybe not politically correct, but I think the governments need to shift how they're doing things. I think we're kind of taught to go to school, get a good job, sit up straight and listen and be obedient.
Wake up, people. Wake up. This is a good
Employee.
time to wake up.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right?
so, be there for 40 years and then you retire, you get that old, they should say an old gold watch or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and you get a party and a cake and they send you off and off you go to retire, then you die. And it's
Yeah.
like,
And then you die.
and yeah, and then a few years ago, people were saying, well, now people are changing jobs a bit more. So I think things are shifting a little. I
Well,
think there's
I think they say people now have at least like 7 careers at
yeah.
least, and careers meaning a little bit of a longer duration versus just maybe a short-term job, which again is different than from what we were told when we grew up, and definitely our parents' generation, where the world is changing.
100%.
Look at it today. There's so many people
Exactly.
having great opportunities, and there's so many people really struggling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and look what, Tony's such a leader. I see him as such an inspiration now. You and I were on that event where we had 22,500 people logged in, plus all of us helping out and supporting and all the tech and everything, and all the people at home. He figured out a way of how to make money in a different way because I heard his, revenue was down 90% or whatever. What does he do? He just bought a stadium, and how do
Yeah.
you he's got so many companies. So it's such a great example for us to think outside the box. What else can I do? Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I've put some coaching courses together versus just doing a one-on-one coaching because that'll reach more people. I started doing a Zoom call where it was more positive for people just to get them to shift their focus and their state into something more positive
Mm-hmm.
because everybody was so fearful and still are, for so many months. That's quite a toll emotionally and mentally on people.
Yeah, well, this again, it's the social isolation, and I know you're in Ontario. I'm here in Lower Mainland, British Columbia, and like you guys have some pretty tight rules and regulations around COVID. Like it,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's even tighter and worse than it was in the beginning.
Well, now I think we've
Almost,
gone
right?
down to, yeah, I try not to pay attention to the news too much, but it was at one point only 10 people gathering together. Then at one point it got to 50, but then there were some issues and people were going, I think, higher than 50, but now it's back down to, I believe, 10 and it's per province. And
Yeah,
we
and
were
if
on,
you get like a $10,000 fine if you're busted not playing by the rules or something, like it's
it
ridiculous.
doesn't make sense because all the protests that were happening in the States, I mean, how come they didn't get, whatever. They didn't get arrested or something and they didn't get sick either, which is another conversation.
Well, but
But
this again is something that and I like to keep things current as well, because again, this
mhm.
is the wake up. It's like, I think we just had a report here in BC of the number of new cases over the weekend. They got like 200,000 active, 245 new, 16 people in the hospital, 3 people had passed away. Yet again, I always say it's like, how many people passed away of other things? And it's not to take away from people passing away that
I know,
COVID's
of
not
course not.
real or anything like that. But if we statistically look at things, we have more people here dying right now in the Vancouver East Side of opiate
Yeah.
overdose, right? But we
Oh,
don't
I
take a
know.
look at that pandemic, you know?
Oh, there's so many other pandemics that they're not paying attention to either. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
And
another
this is,
conversation maybe, but I think we need to start looking outside the box. Like you were
yeah,
saying, people are so fearful. They need to shift their focus. They need to think differently. They need to open up and go, what else is out there? Because there's lots out there that we don't. It's like having a new language that you don't know that there's a new language, like we have to start educating people. And I'm glad you're doing this interview because maybe some people will, wake up and kind of look around a bit.
well, and that's always the intention is, we're not saying we're right. I'm not saying that, that I'm right on anything and that necessarily everything is my belief, but I always like to say kind of what if, and let's take a look at this common sense, logical, reasonable deduction of, kind of the facts, the numbers and things. But what I wanted to get to about that was the importance of community right now. because community is so key with, again, social distancing, right? 6 feet apart is a physical thing, not a social thing. And another interesting thing I've shared before where I've learned is like our aura, our human field, kind of radiates 6 feet around us. So it creates this disconnection in community in, being physically apart in that way. So I find it just interesting how even in this pandemic, and I've seen pictures of what they're doing in schools and things right now, which just blows my mind. But it's like, how do we remain good in community to support each other with everything that we need? And then if we can relate that back to even your work with the Basket Brigade, like what are you seeing in community around this in terms of people's fear? How are you operating within the guidelines? How does that look today compared to what it looked like a year ago?
Well, I just spoke to someone today who asked for a basket at Thanksgiving. She's a great grandmother. She has her granddaughter with her and her 3 great grandchildren. And she said, I haven't been to the grocery store since the middle of March, and
Wow.
and so it's like, wow, she gets her daughter to do things for her. But people are very fearful. Some people that are not well are terrified to go out of their home. So they're so grateful that we're delivering. And at Easter, people were saying, were you gonna, stop doing Basket Brigade for Easter? I said, God, no, I'm going to do it even more now, and nothing's going to stop us. I don't care. We have to help people. That we're an essential service. We're now an essential service, and thank God for that. But we need to help people. We need to step up and get out there and help people. And that's what we're doing. And we're always looking for more volunteers and drivers and donations and things because that keeps us going. But, you can always sign up on our website and things too. I guess we can put the link somewhere.
We'll talk about that as we move forward too, towards the end. Because what I'm curious too is how are you seeing an increased need and demand? Are more people registering for baskets and things now?
Absolutely. Yeah. So people are more scared. People are afraid to leave their house. They've really been scared by all the media, and they do not want to leave their homes. They're grateful that we come. We meet them. If they're in an apartment, we meet them downstairs. So we don't go inside. If they're in a home, we call them and say, well, leave it on your front porch or doorstep, and then we're going to watch that you pick it up. So please come and get it. And then we're going to leave so no one takes it. And we're doing it that way, so we're just kind of, we're staggering our volunteers to come at certain times and our drivers to come at certain times. And that's all we're doing. That's what we did at Easter. We're doing it now at Thanksgiving, and it worked beautifully at Easter. It was even more efficient, actually. We got more efficient. So that was really awesome. So that, what's, my question is always, what's great about this, in any situation? And that's what's great. Even when we picked up food at the food terminal, at Easter, they said, oh, you're not allowed to come in, and whatever, you have to stay in your truck and all that. And we'll send the order out to you. All you have to do is call us. And I thought, wow, we should do this all the time. Instead of me running around in the freezing temperature to all the vendors and things like that, I can just call them and say, I'm here in this location, and they deliver. So there's all these great little things that are logistically happening that we're tweaking, and it's really, really great. So,
I like that you share that because it just relates back to, the improvising and finding the ways to make it work, being adaptable and being flexible and saying, how do we look at this situation in a way that, benefits us? Because with all the things that are, hindering us in certain ways, there are things that benefit us in many ways. And that's just one of them. So what about with an increased demand for people who need help? What are you finding in terms of contribution, donations, the people who support you and what they're offering so that you can share with the families? Are you seeing that as more difficult to get contributions and donations, or are you seeing an increase of donations and contributions?
It's been a little slower for donations, I think, because and my hallucination is that people are a little bit tighter, or they're kind of holding their purse strings a little bit more, and that's fine. But today we also just got a brand new partner that's going to be regularly donating to us. So it's very exciting. We still have a few people that are monthly donors, and that's exciting. We want to grow that. And I'm still looking for a certain amount of donors every month. And I'm still focusing on that because I believe no matter what, it's going to happen. And I've been manifesting so many things lately that, I know it's going to happen. So like I said, today we got a phone call that, we're going to have a really great partner, and they're going to help us out. And that'll probably lead to other partners. And like, look, this interview just happened. I have another one tomorrow. Another one, actually, Tony's Foundation is doing an interview with me on Thursday.
Wow, good for you.
So that's exciting. So 3 interviews in 1 week, which is, haven't done that, before. So
well,
really
you won't be able to say that after this week. And that's how you know that your work is getting out there, that it's being recognized, because I think it's important to acknowledge the work that it takes, in terms of contribution and volunteerism. We had a premiere of a movie. It's called, I don't know, for those of you who might be aware, a number of years ago, there was a documentary called Thrive, and now there's one called Thrive 2. And it was really quite interesting. It was all about the unified field and how tapping into that with energy and all sorts of different aspects of it for healing and everything. And they talked about how when you trust, it's amazing what shows up.
You change your vibration. I've been listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks because I grew up having a lot of dreams and visions and premonitions and thoughts and visitations and things that come true. So that's another show maybe, but your vibration changes, and you can feel it at your gut. That's your gut instinct, and it's that quantum physics that's a science. It's proven, right? The butterfly effect and everything. And it's really true. And you have to really focus on being as focused and positive. And that's how I manifested all this stuff, right? I manifested the charity, and then the charitable number, and then even my car, and we needed a fridge. I got a fridge. We needed a freezer. I got a freezer, things like that.
Yeah. And that's when, you're really tapped in and tuned into, the divine and that unified field, whatever you want to call it, oneness, the divine. And this is how manifestation and yeah, exactly. It's how it all really kind of happens for us. And that's about believing, not having any doubt, which is another, just a real, I know it sounds like a simple concept, but it's true. The power of visualization without doubt, guys. You have to have no doubt when you're visualizing and experiencing what it is you want to manifest. So, if there's something you want to create out there, experience it, visualize it, feel it in your body, and there cannot be a doubt. You have to experience it as if it's already happened. And these are the things that can help you manifest really whatever it is you want, because you have to be clear, you have to believe, you have to see it already happening. It's like Roger Bannister when he broke the 4-minute mile. They figured out how do you do it, because they haven't been able to do it for thousands of years. And he just kept picturing in his mind himself doing it. And that's just an interesting example of how this happens, right?
Yeah, like we have a Toronto Riverdale branch who is really successful when she, sends out the information. Jillian, I'll mention her name. And when she sends an email out, boom, there come the donations. They start dinging in. And she called me yesterday. She goes, okay, I need a fridge. I need you to help me manifest it. I said, okay. So, she said she needs like a commercial fridge with a glass door, right? She goes, yeah, that's what I want. And because there's a little community there that people are really hungry. And she just wants to have this fridge sitting on, I think, a porch or somewhere specific where people can just come up and grab a sandwich or come up and grab something healthy to eat. And it's a community fridge, and she just wants that. I said, okay, we're going to manifest that.
Nice.
Right?
Now you talk about something healthy to eat. So that's one of the things, the PMC Global and the PSSM Society, one of their pillars is about a plant-based diet, and being vegetarian, not killing the animals, the fish, the birds, anything of that nature. And I know that part of our world again is really about more plant-based, or at least reducing and eliminating things.
Yep.
So how does that fit in with the people who are in need? Do you have people actually request vegetarian meals, or are you feeding them meat and animals? What's going on there?
Yeah, well, I'm almost vegan, and I've been almost vegan since '92, thanks to Tony again. And so very grateful for that. And so I believe in that kind of a diet myself. So I love animals. We've rescued so many animals, and I want to one day have a farm because I love animals so much, and a retreat. And so let's manifest that too. And working on it. And so what people do say, though, because people's version of healthy is, oh, let's have an extra vegetable or a vegetable with dinner or something, right? Right?
Yeah.
And or a salad once a week or whatever. So I find that even the people that are meat eaters, and most of our clients are meat eaters, so I respect that. I apologize to every turkey. Honestly, I'm so sorry. Wish people were vegan, but they're not, whatever, and they're hungry. So in their world, this is okay. But people actually do say that, I do go to the food bank, but they only give me so much. And then their fruits and vegetables aren't fresh. So I don't even take them, or they give me like a day and a half worth of food, and, nothing lasts. So they're so grateful when we deliver a week's worth of groceries. And we deliver like a frozen turkey, 10 pounds of potatoes, big grocery bag, those large bags, the large ones, full of fresh fruits and vegetables, and another large bag of all the non-perishable pasta, rice, crackers, cookies, cereal, tuna, peanut butter if we can afford it, and jam, stuffing, cranberries, canned beans and soup, and canned tomatoes and pasta sauce, and we try and really pack it in any kind of condiments we can get our hands on and things, and a cake and a loaf of bread, because that'll kind of do them for a week at least, right? If you're hungry, well, just, eat something, right? But they're so happy for the fresh fruits and vegetables because they do get a little pricey. I remember organic broccoli, gosh, years ago was like $5 a head, and I always thought that was crazy. That was 15, 20 years ago. And now,
it's $5 a pound.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's $3.49 or some whatever for not organic, but it does get a little pricey, But I find I don't spend that much personally because I don't buy any meat or no dairy. I only buy meat for my pets because I make raw food for them. Right now I just have one cat, so not buying that much, but
I know my hound gets a little, it's like vegetables all the time. Come on, I'm a carnivore. Look, I've got fangs, he says. And then when I give him raw food, he gets all antsy. He gets all feral, and it's like, hey, I want more. And I'm like, you crazy little bugger, but it's fun. But this is about the kind of that natural process of things. We don't have like fangs. If you take a look at the animal kingdom of, carnivores versus herbivores. And I do believe we are mostly omnivorous. Not eating meat is for me, there's a spiritual side of things that I've learned and come to accept and really appreciate. There's the respect for the animals. There's the other side of industrial produced meat and everything like that. So I just like to wake people up to the fact that, if you do have a chance to eat vegetarian, vegan, it's certainly a better way to go. And one thing you got me thinking about was I had a couple of guests on last week, and we were talking about, getting back to the land and, if we grow our own food, our own wild foods and things, because first off, it's amazing of what's available in your backyard. And as you just walk down the city streets on the sidewalks, what's available as good, healthy, natural, and ironically organic. Right, because it's not sprayed with anything, just dandelion greens alone. You could be eating salad, like super, super healthy salad. The roots are really powerful, and it's amazing what's out there. So, imagine if everybody started growing more of their own. Got some feedback there, some noise coming in from somewhere.
I don't hear it.
Oh yeah, I've got something coming in crazy here. Oh, let's stop. But anyways, it's interesting because what if we all start growing our own gardens instead of lawns, right? What
That's
if we
right.
all worked and shared as community in our gardens, and you're connected with your neighbors and actually, again, community, right? We contribute to ourselves. We all grow different things and trade. We
Yep.
donate and produce things that you can give back to, organizations such as yourself, that the Basket Brigade, the food bank, Salvation, whatever it is, church organizations, because it's amazing what you can grow in a small piece of land,
Yeah, I have a small
right?
backyard. I've got most of my backyard is a pool and a little patio. And in my small little garden, I have so much food because I grow, tomatoes, tons of tomatoes and green peppers and green onions and chives and corn and asparagus and grapes. And it's a small little strip of land, it's not, maybe it's 10 feet long, maybe 12,
Well,
15
yeah,
max,
and it's
right?
amazing, and that's what's here at this rainforest ranch is like I don't know how many acres it is, but there's pastures. Cynthia Lee supports rescue horses as well. They come in, they
Mm.
rotate them around in the pasture. So she
Mm.
has horses here at times, which is great for the healing work that she does here,
Oh,
and just the organic. Because she's just new in this space after a short amount of time, and so now the next thing is organic gardens and everything else. So
yeah.
that the people who come here can be nourished from the land itself. And I think one of the ways if we were able to educate people who are in need, if they have a yard, how do we educate and inspire and support them for growing their own vegetables throughout the year? Because, well, if you're in Ontario, it's not much you're going to grow in the winter except snowflakes,
Yep, exactly. You need a
right?
greenhouse. I know that in Surrey, I have a friend in Surrey, I believe. There's a community garden there. So they
Mm-hmm.
each have a plot of land that they get. Maybe it's, I'm trying to think of how big it was, 20 by 20 or 15 by 15 or something like that.
Yep.
And there's a whole, maybe it's an acre. I don't know. It's
Yeah, there's lots
quite a
of them
good
in the
piece.
city here. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And it's just a great way to go. And again, that builds community, right? It's good, clean, organic food. And I don't care what they tell you anywhere else that you're going to hear anything. The more natural, raw, organic, clean food you can eat, the healthier you'll be. Your immune system will be stronger. Naturopath, the doctors, all these people can't tell you that. I'm not a naturopathic doctor, but this is what I believe because it makes sense. It
Well, you
just
know
makes
that
sense.
people that grew up on a farm are always healthier. Even though
Mm-hmm.
they drank milk and ate meat and all that stuff that I don't do anymore, but you can see they're stronger.
Oh,
They
yeah.
might be in an old age home or a retirement home, whatever, but they're going to outlive a lot of people because they are healthy,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So now, Joanne, let's talk about the Basket Brigade a bit
Mhm.
because now you're in Toronto. We're talking kind of Canada because this is where we are. Our
Yeah.
community who watches this are all over the world. We've got folks in India. I know, it's one of the reasons I do it at 7 o'clock at night. So, some of the folks and
Yeah.
here's the exciting part is I know people are tuning in and watching. And if anybody has any comments, you're welcome to put them in the comments. If
Sure.
you have any questions or any statements, we
Hmm.
can see them here. We'd love to answer your questions and, share your feedback. But what I was thinking about was as we bring all of this together, not everybody watching will be here in Canada or necessarily in the US. What
Hmm.
would you suggest for people who want to do something like this in their community to give back, or even if they need help?
That's great. That's a great idea. So, first off, let's say that someone wants to help their community. You can go shopping for one family and you can deliver to them. Even if it's just a few items, maybe it's a grocery bag full of food. Maybe your neighbors get together and clean out their cupboards, as long as, not expired food, but
Yeah.
something that, you could donate. So that might be a fun project for your street to do, maybe. That's how I've helped a lot of basket brigades, for example, across Canada. I used to be the contact for it years ago with Tony's office of the foundation. And it would just be, start with one and just do something. And then you can double it next year, get more people involved and things like that. So I go to grocery stores and I get gift cards and we go shopping with it. And then we get donations of food as well. So if anybody wants to start anything and you need help, send me an email through the website, the contact page, and I can help you do that. And then if someone needs help in Canada, you can reach out to me and we can figure out who can help you. There are quite a few food banks
So
in Canada.
plug right, because you're saying that now, make sure that you give them your website so that, if anybody wants any interest where they can start this in your community anywhere in the world, and you want some good sage experienced advice, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can reach me at Basket Brigade Canada.org, and maybe we'll put it in the comments or wherever there is a place to put it afterwards.
Yeah, we'll definitely add it on the Facebook stuff, and on the YouTube channel we'll go back in and populate it there.
Sure.
Because
if someone needs help, reach out to your local food banks. Maybe there's, I know at least I would think in North America, you can go to like maybe a fire station or a police station and find out what there are. Maybe there's a shelter or some crisis center nearby that could help. Maybe a doctor may be connected. I know when I volunteered for 6 years at a women's shelter for battered and abused women and children, just locally here, then I could see that there are lots of agencies listed on the wall. And so I thought, look at all these resources for people, right? So if you ask one person, another person, may know something, they may know somebody.
Well, that's a great question, or a great thing that you made me think about there, is if somebody doesn't know or they can't help, you just ask them, do you know anybody who may?
Yes, exactly. Ask a better question. Yeah, get
more
resourceful.
Exactly. And one thing I want to share too is contribution is as individual as we all are, as you are watching. Your contribution might not be about donating food or doing anything within a basket brigade. Your donation might be, and contribution might be something about helping somebody with time around their home, around their yards, about helping create a better life for the people in the community around you. Because not everybody has the same time, not everybody has the same resources. I'd say we all have the same resources because it's about our resourcefulness, right? But it's about how we get resourceful and what feels good to you, because many people donate and contribute in so many different ways and so many different charities that all need our help and support, and I think it's important that when we do something, and we do it selflessly, it's amazing how it really makes a difference in how we feel, how it juices our spirit. Right?
Yeah, it's like you find out what your passion is, Maybe someone likes to be in outdoors a lot, so maybe you can cut someone's grass or shovel their snow in North America or whatever, right? And it just, what do you love to do? Ask yourself a better question. What's fun to do?
I love that you said cut the grass, because if there's anybody out there watching here locally in Vancouver and things, Cynthia Lee is always looking for contribution around the ranch, especially cutting the grass, because it's huge around here.
You need one of those driving lawnmowers. Do you have one of those?
No, that's what is on the list of things. How do we make it better? Right?
That's right.
It's like, okay, this is a great space. How do we make it better? And even in these communities, it's amazing how people come by and, they might not be able to afford healing events and things of that nature, but they can trade time, right? Contribute to the, because we all have time. We may not have money. We may not have certain things necessarily, but if we can donate and contribute time, and you do a trade, we got to get back to this barter system in the world where not everything's about a dollar and capitalization and profit and all of those things, but sacred commerce, it tends to take money to can't pay our
maybe she can grow garden or something, and she can pay people in vegetables.
There's so many different ways to contribute and give to community, and that's what this program is really about, is the ability to be really aware to give back, right? And don't be thinking, give because and give back because you want to, and it feels good and it's making a difference. Because here's what we've learned, especially in our world, Joanne, and I'm sure you'll agree, and if not, please correct me and please add whatever you'd like. But the contribution, when we're giving back in that way, when we do it selflessly, what comes back is so powerful. You're not looking for it, you're not expecting it, but this becomes what we talked about in the beginning about manifestation, right? You keep giving and doing it really,
Hmm.
really, has because the universe conspires to, give back for sure.
I see that I just saw someone, Reverend Savage here in Toronto. He just posted something on the chat. Great, there he is.
Yeah, he said great. Yeah,
Hi.
no, it's awesome. I love knowing that that people are watching, and that this conversation has the ability to make a difference in the world. And if there are one person watching at any time where you're inspired to do something different, then I know I can speak for myself, and I'm going to speak for Joanne anyways, because I like to do that sometimes. But I'm sure she believes the same thing, right? That if we
Absolutely.
make a difference to one person, this is worth it. And if
It's all
that
worth
one
it.
person
Yeah.
can, it's that ripple in the pond, if they can make that difference and that difference, and then we can start doing it on a larger scale, and that's where community really comes into play.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how you do it. You can change your part of the world, your community, your street, your city, and then go from there. We're
Mm-hmm.
starting Basket Brigade. We started it in my house. We're still in my house, but we use a hotel and things now to actually sort and pack versus my living room, and because we've gotten so big. But we started small, so just help. Well, like I said, help one person, and the
Mm-hmm.
difference you make in their life is forever, forever. I mean, look what happened to Tony. One person showed up that day and it changed his entire life, changed all of our lives.
Well, it changed millions and millions of lives, right? Like what the ripple effect is. How many? I don't know how many millions of people he has fed now,
Oh,
just based on that one experience as a
oh.
teenager, right?
It's been 2 million per year for years, and now it's more because I think a couple years ago, he said he wants to feed 1 billion people. So I think he's up to
Mm-hmm.
what, a few 100 million or something by now,
Yeah,
six
and
hundred million or something. It's just astronomical. Just what an
well, and this
example
is
of what's possible.
well, absolutely, and it just goes to show that you know, yes, people like Tony. If you don't know who he is, these guys don't underestimate the good that a lot of these rich folks do in the world, right? Because so many people just think some people are about money, but if you look behind the scenes, there are a lot of great philanthropists, and they don't always let people know what they're doing, because they're not doing it for their own significance or ego or advertising or anything else. They're doing it
That's right.
because, because my whole belief is like, how much money do you need? Really,
Yeah.
anyone. If you got millions and billions and they're just sitting there, how can you help the world? You know,
Yeah.
I certainly, money to me is so I can travel more, learn more, grow more, so I can share more, so I can help make a bigger difference in the world.
Yeah.
Really, I don't need more material stuff. The world doesn't need more material stuff, plastic and crap from all sorts of different countries, including China, all over the world, that just it becomes disposable and fills our landfill. And we need to wake up to that. And if we, put our money where, our intelligence is, we can solve all the world's problems really fast.
I think so too. I think it's a very simple solution.
Mm-hmm. It really is. But, and
Yeah.
this is something that, who was I talking about this the other day? But it was about, it's going to take a few this is from the Thrive show that we were talking about, because we
Mm.
had a conversation around it, and they were talking about, if all children were raised in a peaceful, loving environment, right? And they didn't know violence, they didn't get abused. Oh, they got love, they got appreciation, they got all of those things. They weren't tapped into the video games and the violent movies and things of that nature, and they didn't know it, that we'd have a much more loving, caring society, especially around the globe, if that could all happen. And then we got to thinking, and the conversation expanded. It's like, how many generations would it take for that to happen, to undo all the pain and suffering, violence and abuse, torture that has permeated? Because, you and I have been in the personal growth arena for a long time. And, I finally came to the realization through this whole COVID thing about, the privileged white guy, because I never thought I was privileged by any stretch. But, we take a look at what so many people, and of all colors, of all denominations, of all, wealth factors, but the abuse that people go through. And some of the stories you hear of people growing up and what they've dealt with their parents, even high society and everything else, to stop that and start creating some generations that we're all love, peace, no war. Let's make love, not war, right?
I think it just can stop today. I think it's so simple. It could stop today if we really wanted it to. I think if everyone took some time, kind of like we are now, if everyone's at home, right? So people are getting back to work. But I think we can just make a conscious decision to have a awesome future the way we want it, not just how someone's going to spell it out for us. We can manifest our future, and we can start now. When would now be a good time? Right?
How about now? How about now? Right? But
yeah.
Exactly. I like what you're talking about, choice and free choice, because that's about us as a sovereign being, right? Of a child of God and the goddesses, I believe we're all entitled to at least a safe, healthy life. Hey, we don't have to be rich beyond, ridiculousness or anything of that nature, but our basic needs, right? And how do we as a society and a community really work in bringing that up? And this is one of the things, like for me, and this is the power I want to share with people about contribution. I didn't really give back a lot in a sense of contribution. When people ask me for money, homeless people and things like that, I'll give them money, and sometimes I'll give them what they ask for, spare change, or sometimes I'll give them much more. Always, of course, with the intention that this is for food, shelter, for something good, not, drugs or whatever it is. And then I let the rest is up to them. But it comes down to that sovereign choice in today's world where, we have the right to make our own decisions, whether we want to wear a mask or not. We have the right to choose, 6 feet is one thing, but, and that's just social responsibility at some point and respecting other people's space, which I think is fair. But, if people want to convene and they know what's going on in the world, I believe they should have the choice to do what they want to do. If they want a vaccination, you have a choice. You can get a vaccination. If I don't want to be vaccinated, I have that choice, right? Just like I have the choice to eat meat or to eat organic vegetables, and it's respecting and appreciating everybody's choice, whether we agree with it or not. Because again, that's where our community continues to build and grow. And in this time, we need more community and connectedness, even if we disagree on things. But there's too much rifts happening in family and friends and communities just because of the beliefs of what's going on in the world today, especially locally. And, I'm seeing it happen. And it's unfortunate because we talk about we're these awakened, conscious people, and yet we start beating people up for their beliefs and sharing what they believe to be true. And when you start again looking at the facts, doing your own deductive reasoning, you have to take a look at the information and not just necessarily what we're getting from certain sources in the media, right? Which again, always, right now, I'd like to bring it back to that contribution and how do we serve and give back and build our community so that as we transition through, into what the new world is looking like, how do we do that in a good, caring, loving way that feels good, is good for you, good for others, and serves the greater good?
I think that there's that thing from 20 something years ago when we started saying you have love and you have fear. Pick which one do you want? Are you going to come from love or are you going to come from fear? And love could be God. It could be your family. It could be your social network. It could be, anything around you. But fear is always and it's so painful. It always is such a painful thing when you're in fear or angry or worried, some negative state, then it's like a snowball. It's that vibration again, right? If we want a beautiful world, we need to be in what Tony calls a beautiful state. I love that, whether it's gratitude or appreciation or love or happiness. And one of our tagline for one of them for Basket Brigade Canada is we deliver love and happiness. And I got that from Tony Shea of Zappos because he says we deliver happiness. And I heard that and I thought, well, what do we deliver? We deliver something too. And I thought, oh, it's love and happiness because that's really our drivers do that. Our sorters and packers do everything with love. And that carries into the family home or the senior home or the single person disabled home that we go into, and they're happy and we're happy to give it. So there's so much love and happiness around it. That's why we say that we deliver love and happiness, and it's really true. It feels so. You love it. I know, of course. You have to love it. It's love, and
because that's what we all want, right? We all want to be loved, and so everything we do, and I've talked about this before, and I just keep coming back to these nuggets because repetition is the mother of skill. But at our core, as human beings, we all want to be loved, appreciated, respected, and know that we matter. That's why we fear rejection so much. And that's why, fear is the real virus of the world, regardless where you cut it, because when you live with love and not fear, your whole world changes. And
exactly.
Here's how I want everybody who's watching, whenever, wherever you're watching, because I believe at some point we have all given back and contributed beyond ourselves and done something good for people in need, to help and to serve. And if we all went back to a moment that we remember doing that, and this was for me the first time I actually crewed a Tony event, right? There's a live event, there's a multi-speaker event, Power of Success, of which you know well. March in 2007 was the first thing I actually volunteered. And that was one thing. I loved it. I loved giving back. It was so exciting to be in that place to help people and be there. But then I crewed an actual Tony event. And it was a small digital event in Vancouver. And man, my heart just opened up. I could not get enough of this environment. And Tony's so great at meeting people's needs in that environment. That's why he has 400, 500, 600 people volunteer their own time, money, travel all over the world to volunteer these live events. And that's what happened for me. It was one of those moments that I really felt that liberating joy, love, full expansion of being able to give back. I was just so I had tears in my eyes, connecting heart to heart with so many people. And I asked you watching, anybody out there, think of a time that you gave back beyond yourself selflessly. It might have been helping in an emergency or a disaster, or you just ran, you didn't even think about it. How did that feel afterwards? Right? And tap into that feeling, because that's what contribution is really about, right? And Joanne, you get to feel that every day you're delivering a meal.
Exactly. And that's how we do things. Our underlying, intention is all about how can we help you have a better life? And by getting you at least food, a basic necessity of life, then that makes me feel good. Because I had, when I was a single mom, I had like 6 part-time jobs. It was crazy. I had some people not pay me. I had to figure out what to do, how to live around all that. And you come up with different options, and again, those resources, right? Oh, so Reverend Savage is saying, good that your choice was love, Joanne. Fabulous, and blessings for many, many more years of continued success. He's been such a great help.
Thank you. Thank you, Vernal Savage. Thank you for tuning into the program. Thank you for the support and the work that you do in your community and supporting Joanne. And please share, if you like what you're hearing, please share it with your community, because, if we can inspire people to just step out of themselves and give back, especially in this time today, it's really an important aspect. If you want to start up a basket brigade in your community, reach out to Joanne, and she'd be happy to, give you some pointers and how you can help support that cause. Because, hey, your contribution, and this is something we talked about in the program show I did on the purpose of your life's purpose. I know my purpose is to be of service. I'm here to serve,
Mhm.
right? And in that, even this show is about service because it's me giving back the things I've learned that I'm passionate about. And I like to people to wake up to an opportunity that can very well possibly, and I know will change their lives and have the ability to change the lives of others if we just take a moment to give back beyond ourselves in a selfless way, not thinking about what we're going to get back, but because we truly want to help another human being or any being, any sentient being. You might be helping out with horses or pets, or like Cynthia's doing here with bringing the horses in and grazing, a couple of rescue dogs here and things. So there's
Yeah.
so many ways that you can give back, and it's not just by giving food, and that's not about taking away from the Basket Brigade at all. It's about letting you know that there are different ways to do it based on what makes your heart sing too. You might have a skill set that helps people. There's so many different ways, but we came together today to talk about community and contribution. And because Joanne is so active with the Basket Brigade, I asked her to join us so we can talk about this. So, again, Joanne, if you want to maybe give some more information about anybody who might be interested in supporting your cause, doing something outside of that, and just learning more about the Basket Brigade, where would they go, and what would you recommend they do?
Great, thank you. So they can go to basketbrigadecanada.org. Brigade is like Army, Brigade, and we will put a link somewhere below. But yeah, visit us on the website. We could always use donations. If you're in Canada, you get a tax receipt. That's exciting, and a thank you for helping us out. But you can, like for example, Thanksgiving, you can sponsor a family for $150. Because we do a week's worth of groceries, and it's like 45 pounds of food. So if you have any questions, you want to start something in your own country, email me. I'll be glad to help. And if you're having maybe some emotional issues and you want to talk, email me as well, and we can take care of that. So
and me too.
Yeah,
You can always reach out to me if any, because we're here to help. We're here to serve.
that's
And
right.
money can't be in the way of our personal growth, development, our awakening and enlightenment.
Exactly.
I want people to have an opportunity and know that there's people who care and are willing to help. And that being said, I want to give a big shout out to my the back studio assistant Somya. She's here every week. I start at 7 o'clock. She's back east. It's 10 o'clock her time, and she's dedicatedly there running, watching the chat, sharing comments. She popped in the Basket Brigade links into the comments as well. So Somya, I want to thank you for the work that you do and the contribution, because I know you're a volunteer also. So there's another way of volunteering, because Somya's here helping us out on the back end, and she's not here for her own significance. She's hiding in the back. She's doing it because she loves sharing the message. And I want to thank PMC Global and PSSM Society, because they're doing great work in the world so that we can help and assist people, inspire them to have a better everyday life through meditation, through right action, through yoga and plant-based living. And of course, the P is for pyramid meditation, and the power of meditation with pyramids. And I learned a whole bunch of pyramid meditation and pyramid power through Cosmic Reset and the team here. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be able to share every week, topic of my choice, and to bring people in that I know and that are doing great work in the world. And that's why I invited you as well, Joanne. So I thank you for the work that you're doing, the difference you're making in the world, and just your passionate and fun-loving way about doing it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much to everybody for having us. It's such a pleasure to share what we're doing.
Well, and this is just the beginning of some of the stuff you and I are going to be doing, because we're just getting geared up to start a few different projects, which I'll be sharing out there, anybody who's following the work that we do. But we're really excited about the new online world and the virtual opportunities. So we're looking at streaming different events to inspire change, transform people's lives. They're going to be fun, they're going to be informative, they're going to be interactive, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so impactful. So exciting.
And I thank you again, Joanne, for your support in the work that I do, because you're always there and driving, from your side, and having someone in Toronto on the other side of the country. I thank you, and I honor you and the work that you do
Oh,
for
thank
making
you.
a difference in people's lives. Because I know you've been doing it since, like, what you said, 93. Like,
93.
my God, right? My goodness. So, that's dedication, friends. And, find something you love, something that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about community. I'm passionate about serving. I'm passionate about seeing people wake up and transform their lives and go, oh my God, I just got it. So if I can be doing that, my work is, really
Yeah.
a blessing, and it's a joy. So again, I thank you, Joanne. If you have any kind of last words, this is the time.
Just get out there and change the world. You can do it. We're all doing it in our own community.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you, PMC Global. Thank you, Conscious Living Network. Thank you, PSSM Global. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Somya. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And until next week, we'll see you again. It's Marc Caron, and this has been your Wake Up Call. Oh, and again, I also want to thank Cynthia Lee and the Rainforest Ranch Retreat and Healing Center, because this place is amazing. It's just really been nice to connect with nature. And I brought my computer and stuff to do some work, and it was just nice to, I'm going to spend another day if you'll allow me. And she's like, please. And it's a beautiful day here today. So it's just really grateful to kind of, be plugged in, yet also plugged into nature right outside the door where there's nothing around. It's been fantastic. So I thank you, Cynthia Lee, as well, for your hospitality here at the Rainforest Ranch. Great.